Welcome to Communing with Divine, a podcast where I share my spiritual quest and the lessons and the insights that I've received from many divine beings and energies during meditation. I am your host, Meraki. Now, let's begin. Welcome to episode 4 of Communing with Divine. I hope you enjoyed part 1 and 2 of the last episode. January 17th, 2022. I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts about the information that has come to me over the last few weeks. They'll probably change as I learn and grow, but I feel that I should share them with you as they are right now. I feel strongly that there are those of us who come into this experience to offer others the opportunity to explore being empathetic. I suppose all of us offer this opportunity to others who we are close to, but some people offer this opportunity to a larger or a greater audience. And these people, animals, and even environments offer us the chance to explore and grow through the vehicle of empathy. Empathy is important because it opens the door to compassion, and to my mind, empathy and compassion are the two most powerful expressions of unconditional love that we have, even if this love is not cognitively felt or recognized as being present. So, what is empathy? Empathy is described by the Merriam-Webster dictionary as the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. And compassion is defined as the sympathetic consciousness of the distress of others combined with the desire to alleviate it. So empathy is the conscious and the emotional awareness that leads us to compassion, which results in an effort to alleviate the distress of others. And so empathy and compassion work hand in hand and are the tools that we've been given to express the divine-like love that resides within each of us, even when we do not hold any conscious human love for another person or group of people, or an animal or an environment. Some people have the opportunity to reach a larger, unrelated audience, like someone who's begging on the street. We don't know their story, but seeing a person in this state usually stirs up emotion and triggers thoughts when we see them. For some people, it may bring on judgment, and they view this homeless person as being less deserving or bad in some way. They might assign blame or create the scenario that led to the situation that is not based on facts or knowledge about this person. They might assume alcohol or drugs are the reason for this person's unfortunate situation, and so they'll refuse to help them or even to feel empathy for the situation this person has found themselves in. Perhaps they're right in that maybe substance abuse led this person to be homeless. But what led this person to have their lives totally destroyed by a substance? Was it childhood abuse, domestic abuse? Maybe they have mental health issues that they could not afford to get care for. Or perhaps the pharmaceutical medications that they were prescribed for pain or for post-op led to addiction, which led to their homelessness. Perhaps it's not addiction at all. Maybe astronomically high medical bills caused them to lose everything, or an unexpected job loss, or maybe a personal tragedy that they were unable to deal with or overcome. We don't know. The question is, will we pass by them in a state of judgment and condemnation? Will we pass by with a neutral mind? Or will we spare even a kind thought for this person and the situation they are in? The statement, "There but for the grace of God go I," applies here, I think. I believe that empathy may be one of the most important tools we have, especially in conjunction with compassion. In fact, I would argue that empathy and the empathy-compassion combination is more important than what we refer to as quote-unquote love. Let me explain. To my mind, empathy and the empathy-compassion combination is love in action. So even if a person doesn't hold the energy of love in a cognitive way for someone else, if they choose the path of empathy, they're extending love to another person through acts of compassion. An empathetic and compassionate act, even in the absence of conscious or active love, will allow for love to enter and to grow. Empathy acts as a door through which unconditional love can enter, or for it to be activated. And so through the path of empathy, through each empathetic act, love can grow in the world. Now, I want to be very clear that when I use the word love, I mean actual, pure, unconditional love. And I feel that I have to be very clear about this and point this out, because many people don't understand or know what unconditional love is, usually because they did not experience love as children. They've only known, quote unquote, conditional love, which I'll talk about in a minute. For me, an absence of empathy is an absence of love in the true meaning of the emotion that the word love represents. Empathy and compassion come together to form an active emotion. And as I said before, they are love in action. Empathy is the litmus test for love. You can't have love for someone and show no empathy towards them when they suffer or when they have needs. I would argue that a lack of empathy is the root cause of almost all of the suffering in this world. And a lack of empathy is often based in the idea that someone else or a group of other people, animals or environments again, are different to us in some way that makes them unworthy of empathy and consideration. The ability to be cruel and sustain that cruelty only occurs when there is a lack of empathy, which is an absence of love. And so I will say it again, a lack of empathy is the root of all human evil and suffering in this world. People say all you need is love, but as I said before, for many people, love does not exist in its true nature, its unconditional form. This so-called quote-unquote love exists as a cover for the indulgence of the ego, of the self, and is only present when it serves the self. Therefore, it's not love. It's a false flag. This false flag is called conditional love, which is a contradiction in terms. If it's conditional, it's not love. If it's conditional and only serves the self, then it is a complete perversion of love. In fact, it's the opposite of love. Conditional love is a form of control and abuse. People who hold this form of the perversion of love have little to no empathy for others, and they will only show feigned empathy if it serves them in some way. It is these people who perpetuate the misery of others near and far. Conditional love is about control and dominance. It serves the ego and not the soul. I believe that it comes from abuse, often from a childhood where unconditional love probably did not exist. And more than anything, conditional love comes from fear. It is a fear-based and fear-driven emotion, and fear is not love. If conditional love had a more appropriate and honest name, it might be less acceptable to subject other people to it, and we would be less likely to accept it from others. Perhaps the word love should be removed entirely. We could call it a more appropriate name like conditional caring, manipulative self-interest, or coercive control. Then there would be no cover, no camouflage for this abusive emotion to hide behind. People have told me they don't believe that unconditional love exists on earth. I completely disagree. I think unconditional love is present here because it resides within us. In many of us, it is hidden under thick layers that we piled over it every time we were hurt by the conditional caring posing as love. But it is there within all of us. We came in with it, and while it can be covered up, hidden, and forgotten about, it can't be lost or destroyed. So I'd like to make a suggestion. For all of the energy and time we spend on self-help and self-improvement in a bid to find happiness or springboard our spiritual growth, perhaps we could practice employing empathy every day. And then maybe we could step it up and show compassion for others, even if it's only in our thoughts. And I think that if we can do this slowly in small ways, then we can learn to uncover and reactivate the vibration of unconditional love that lies within us. And as we walk through our lives with our unconditional love activated, we will affect everything positively just by being. I also want to point out that empathy is not just a gift for the receiver of the compassionate act. It is also a gift for the person who extends empathy to another, because it is the gift of an opportunity to give love in a pure state, and that gift is invaluable. I would even suggest that the gift of allowing another person the opportunity to show empathy and compassion is a greater gift than that of showing empathy and compassion. Because with the opportunity to show empathy comes a leap in spiritual growth. I recently talked about this with someone. I was talking with them about all of the suffering that conditional love was responsible for. And the person I was speaking to responded with a question: "What's your problem with suffering? Suffering is how we learn." The idea that we can and should learn from empathy, compassion, kindness, and the expression of real love completely eluded this person. As far as this person was concerned, the only way humans learn and grow is through suffering. At the core of this person's statement lies a complete lack of empathy, something they were not shown in childhood. And now this person is perpetuating the experience and the beliefs that they were subjected to and that caused them to suffer. They are passing on the illness. They are infecting others with this virus, spreading this misbelief that they disguise as truth or as fact, perpetuating fear and judgment and the suffering that it brings by disguising it as being necessary and sometimes even worse, divinely ordained. What if one of the lessons we are here to understand is that suffering is not necessary in order to learn or to grow spiritually? What if part of what we're supposed to learn and understand is that even in this dense 3D reality filled with the opportunity to suffer or to cause others to suffer, we can better learn and grow more quickly through empathy, compassion, and unconditional love? What if the only way we can survive as a species is to become empathetic, compassionate beings who hold love for each other and for the world we live in and all of her creatures? What if the default of learning through suffering is merely ensuring our destruction and the destruction of our environment? Do we have to accept this program that we are in as it is at this moment with all of the distortions that we have perpetuated? Do we have to accept the light perverted as a dominant force in this conscious reality? Well, we don't know for sure what our program or experience was like at the start. We have many stories throughout varying cultures around the world that suggest an existence and an experience that was without fear and suffering. So why do we accept the program of our reality as it is now with the foregone conclusion that this is how it should and must be? It's defeatist and it's absurd. And I can tell you that deep within me, within my true essence, I do not feel that this is truth. I feel that this program we are experiencing as a conscious reality was written so as to have the ability to modify itself based on real-time input from the players. And that's us. It's also why I believe things have spun out of control in terms of suffering and abuse, because the input from the players has leaned in this direction and has grown exponentially, like a virus. As conditional love, fear, and abusive behavior have spread from one person to another like wildfire. And I think that this is because somewhere along the way we decided to accept this as truth, as an inevitable, unavoidable truth. And because of that, we made it so. We are participating in a modifiable program, and we need to be aware that our actions dictate changes to the trajectory and the storylines of the program. And we are bound to see this program through to the end, whether we want to or not, because we are both the creators and the participants of this program that we find ourselves in. We are also participating in all the other offshoots of the original program and the many dimensional variations that exist. And we also exist beyond these limited existences as higher beings, but must still honor our commitment to this lower conscious reality and all of its dimensional offshoots. I believe that we are learning from both sides of the veil, learning as creators and as experiencers, learning from our perspectives of both quote-unquote above and below, as outside observers and as internal experiencers in order to understand the ramification of our choices. It's sort of like how we sometimes need to experience things in order to understand the difference between theory, or creative ideas, and the application of that theory. In other words, living those ideas. If we are one, then the experience of each one of us is the experience of the all. We are each person, and every person is us. Our experiences are not individual, they are collective. In this case, all the energies here on earth, whether pure love or absolute evil, belong to all of us and have come forth from all of us. Energy is neutral, and we are graced with the ability to change that energy into what we want. It can be nurturing or it can be destructive, and it can be everything in between. We are energy transmuting machines. In fact, we are very powerful energy transmuting machines. We just don't realize it. We are all responsible for the discordant energy that we now find ourselves experiencing globally. We are also all responsible for the acts of healing and of kindness, for the acts of empathy, compassion, and love. The energies that we have transmuted and altered envelop the earth, affecting all of us. They exist as energies of influence. Will we increase the intensity of the energies, or will we alter them? Will we sit in judgment and coercive control? Will we apply manipulative self-interest, or will we sit in empathy and compassion? We are perpetually presented with these opportunities, and we constantly make choices, whether we are conscious of those choices or not. Will we respond with patience and kindness to someone who's channeling anger? Will we forgive the unforgivable? Will we lash out and injure someone who extends love, friendship, and kindness to us? Will we take the emotions of anger and hatred and intensify them through hurtful pursuits and actions? Will we take empathy and energize it further through compassion, turning it into unconditional love? We have this power, the power to transmute energy. We do this all day, every day, without thinking, without ever realizing what we're doing. This lack of awareness of ourselves is just as much of a veil as the one that exists between the many existences and dimensions around us, and it is our biggest challenge. This transmutation of energy may be the one shared challenge of human beings. This veil of unawareness of choice, unawareness of our constant transmutation of energy, keeps us from being able to change our lives and the existence of all who are here on earth, because we walk around in a fog of distraction, of ignorance of our power and the powerful results of the thoughtless, fear-fueled application of that power. And then, to compound this, we mask our fear and our abusive behavior with neutral or positive-sounding words and phrases so as not to have to see the truth that is in front of us. Without self-awareness and the understanding of our power to transform and transmute energy, we create destinies for ourselves and for the others around us that do not speak to the beauty and the perfection of our soul energy. The challenge is to be aware of self in every sense of what awareness means, and to honor who we are as we walk through this life. And as we create and transform energy, we must do it from a place of empathy, compassion, mercy, and unconditional love. All of this lies within us. All of it. The power is entirely within us to alter the program that we are consciously experiencing. Let's return to a moment to the example of the person who is begging on the street, because there are a few other things about this that I would like to explore. Many people would observe this person and make statements relating to the concept of old souls versus young souls, or someone being more evolved or less evolved. Another fan favorite is karma, as if they have the divine insight not just into this person's current situation or current life, but also into their soul's journey from the beginning of consciousness. And people say these things with great sincerity and with tones of gravitas and knowledge. I've challenged these people who feel that they know why another person is experiencing an event or a series of events in their lives. When challenged, they often become very defensive, and they say things like, "You don't understand because I speak from a higher plane," or "I can see their life path," or "I can read their aura or their energy field." This is not divine insight. This is ego, pure and simple. It's also BS. Be aware of this in other people, and especially be aware of it in yourself. Don't be fooled if it comes from the mouth of a healer, a seer, a psychic, a yogi, an energy worker, a person of religion, etc., etc. They are not exempt from the influence of their ego, and they do not hold and can't see the divine plan or path of anyone, often not even their own. People like to categorize and to judge. It makes us feel superior, as if we're in the know. It can make us appear better or even greater in some way than the subject of our judgment. We can become a central resource of divine or human insight, a well of knowledge for others to turn to for answers, and that makes us feel good. We are human after all, and so it's understandable, but we must stay vigilant and aware. We must try to catch ourselves when it starts to manifest within us, or as it begins to spill from us out into the outside world, or even if you realize it afterwards. That's a huge positive step. We must ask ourselves why. Why did we feel the need to say what we did? Where did these thoughts and feelings come from? Because they came from within ourselves and had nothing to do with the person we observed, and it didn't come from the divine either. Those thoughts and feelings existed within us well before anyone presented us with the opportunity to know that they were there. That person who triggered these things to rise up from the depths of us where they were hidden and out into the open, that person gave us an opportunity. They gave us a gift, the gift of awareness of self and the opportunity to heal. If each of us practice this awareness, catching ourselves, asking ourselves why, finding the source and addressing or healing it, this would release us from a lot of the unnecessary suffering that we experience at the hand or because of the hand of others, that which we have caused to ourselves and that which we have caused to others. Can you imagine if we applied empathy and compassion to ourselves and to the people we decided to judge? Can you imagine what kind of world we would live in? Because the fact is that we do not and cannot know the why of anyone's path. Perhaps it takes a very quote-unquote old soul to come and live a life of suffering or of addiction or of perceived failure. Perhaps it is a gift of great sacrifice that they offer to the rest of us. Perhaps it has nothing to do with them being newbies on this planet. Maybe it has nothing to do with karma from past actions in this life or in a past life. Or perhaps it is all of those things. But none of us can know what is truth. None of us can know why. Returning to empathy and compassion, to my mind, and I could be wrong, empathy leads to compassion, which opens the door to true love. Call it divine love, call it unconditional love, call it whatever you want. But accepting nothing less from yourself and nothing less for yourself is important, because we all deserve to have it in our lives. We are all worthy of it, and honestly, we all need it. Conditional love is not love. It is an oxymoron. Love, by definition, is not conditional. If it is conditional, then it is not love. It is a need or a convenience or an arrangement or a game. And it is always fear. Conditional love is truly an imposter. It comes directly from the ego and ego alone. It does not come from the heart, and it definitely does not come from the divine within us. Conditional love dresses itself up as love in order to control others and control the world around it, because the ego lives in fear and desires control, which brings temporary relief to the fear. Conditional love is control that wears the trappings or the garments of love. And woven into these garments can be guilt, manipulation, coercion, and many other things, but never love. It is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is the light perverted cloaking itself in the trappings of the divine. To my mind, conditional love, along with the complete absence of love, are the basic building blocks of the foundation for all of the suffering that we have in this world. We are damaged as children, and we build upon that damage. We don't know any better. We don't know any other way. This is doubly true because our society normalizes it, presents it as acceptable, and promotes excuses and justifications for it. It's an abomination, and yet it is condoned and sanctioned. It is excused. Why do we promote mediocrity? Why masquerade control and abuse as love when unconditional love is within all of us? Why are we so afraid to find it? Call it what you will, unconditional love, divine love, soul love, whatever name you choose, know without any doubt that it resides within you. It has to, because it's part of your essence, part of the only aspect of you that is real in truth and that is everlasting, that is a part of the all. And you can access it. We all can. But we have to give it room, and we have to give it an opportunity. So how? How do we do that? Well, I believe that by practicing the self-awareness and self-analysis that I discussed earlier, we can give unconditional love room by removing the garbage that's covering it up or blocking its way. And by regularly employing empathy and compassion, we can open a door for this love that resides within us, and that is who we are in truth, to shine. If you are looking for higher purpose, as some people would call it, I would ask, what purpose is higher than loving unconditionally? I can think of no higher purpose than this. Nothing higher can exist in this conscious reality that we are experiencing right now. Preserve your heart. Preserve your soul energy. Preserve the perfect unconditional love that resides within you and that is you. Guard it with all that you are, for it is your saving grace, and it is your connection to the divine, to the all. But that's just my opinion, obviously. Thank you all so much for listening and walking this path with me. I hope you'll join me again for the 5th episode. Have a great day.